Bastards, welcome. In our smaller kitchen.
Times are hard.
Times are hard. Yeah, downscale. So today's talk is going to be my change of heart. So just post-COVID, I stopped doing gradings for my students as a thing. So rather than doing a grading, we would award belts when students reach the required standard. So I've had a change of heart now. Main thing was, just recently we done a grading for our brown and black belts. And also I've done a grading myself recently, and it kind of made me realise how special the moment is. Plus the pressure it puts you under and the preparation you need to go through to get to that point. So there are a few of the points that made me sort of change heart, really. So I know you still do gradings?
Still do gradings, mainly for the pressure, the rite of passage. For the lower grades, I always think it gives them something to aim towards.
Yeah.
And they can actually sort of go, I can see that I've got to do X, Y, and Z to get there.
So yeah, and I think that was one of the problems I had. So we never had a time scale of, right, your next belt's going to be at this point. So they never knew when the next grade was going to be. They just carried on working, they carried on training. And I went through that route in the Aikido Jiu-Jitsu club that I train at. So that's how they do it. They just award you belt as and when you're ready. I don't know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, I think they tend to do that. I know, as far as I'm aware.
I don't know, don't they have to fight for their belt?
Yeah, but it's still within the club. I don't think it's a special grading.
Okay.
You know, a special grading day. Anybody does BJJ or Big A, you can put us right on that.
Right in.
Yeah, or stick it in the comments. But yeah, I believe it's done in-house on a training night, and you're awarded your belt and whipped to fuck with that weird thing they do at the end.
Yeah.
But
There's a different thing going on there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. So.
But so you lost my train of thought a little bit there, but yeah, it was not having a time scale. So they didn't know when the next belt was going to be awarded. So for one of the points was that was a good one. So it gives them that mental sort of preparation time and a goal to go for. Which for me, when I took my most recent grading, again it was good to have that target. So knowing when you're going to do something. So that was one of the good points that we changed things around. So what was the other thing you said? So why you did it was the
mental thing.
Yeah.
So pressure on the day.
I think
is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not as bad as the pressure of a real fight, but I think bringing some pressure. I'm sure most people have done it. You get someone up in front of the whole class and go, do a kata, and they're like, fuck, everyone's looking at me.
Yes.
Just that stupid little bit of pressure that people they know.
Well, this is one of the things I found when I was doing my gradings, and I mean, it's grown adults, it's not a kids grading thing, that people are trained with week in, week out, who are experienced martial artists, have no issue, whatever, but you put them on a formal grading day and they feel grading pressure.
Yeah.
They feel pressure at being the centre of attention.
Yeah.
They feel that I am watching every move they make. And you think, why are you nervous? You know the stuff, you know it's me. Yeah, but I just do.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, I think, for training people.
Yeah, so dropping the gradings obviously drop that pressure. At the time I thought, no, there'll still be pressure when I get them up in front of the class to demonstrate. But it just wasn't quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the same as the pressure of a grading day.
The other thing that, because I did wonder about doing that, if people had just achieved the standard, done their time, that's one of the things I did think through. But one of the other things that I used to get from grading days was feedback on my teaching. When you're focusing on teaching all the time, just running a class, you think you're doing all the stuff that you should do, and you keep your eye on your students, obviously. But I used to sit, I had a fresh pair of eyes in, we'd sit behind the table, and I could nitpick problems in technique, problems in what people understood. And it wasn't so much that there's a problem with that student, it's I've missed something in the teaching of that student. There's something that I need to buck up on.
I should have done more of that.
Because, So from my point of view, the grading was a handy thing for feedback on what I was doing, more so than...
Yeah, and actually, because this was the first grading I've done since COVID about 3 weeks ago, so it was for just brown and black belts, and it did highlight some areas to me, where we had some shortcomings.
Yeah.
So it is a good.
I mean, one of the things I find interesting is when you get someone from outside, I feel probably as much pressure as the students, because you're like, you're representing me now, and you should be able to do this. And if you're fucking it up, I look like a dick, not just.
Yeah, and you have to get past that being defensive about it. As
Yeah,
well.
you do.
If somebody offers you an opinion, I think, well, it's no use saying, well,
Yeah.
you have to accept that. Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, I've got
Yeah,
to look at this
Yeah.
with dispassionate eyes and
Yeah.
see what you're doing. But it sort of cycles around to something we previously discussed about skipping a lot of key on these days. With the way we've moved on to things is because of the way we teach in a sort of holistic fashion. That we may not cover that in the sort of depth that we used to, and it becomes apparent in a grading when
That
you
was
break
one
it
of the
down.
big things. So it was the key on, which we call our core concepts, and even a little bit to a small degree kata performance, because we don't do that much solo kata. So if I call one of the candidates up to demonstrate an application for, really they would know the applications from the kata, but to do a good, what I would call a good solo performance, it wasn't what I would have expected 5 years ago or so.
Well, that again sort of brings us to another question, which is we've discussed elsewhere, is that kata performance a relevant part of your syllabus? You know,
See, I think
what you're keeping it as.
It's good because you can see body mechanics,
I was going to say the same
and
thing.
that's
Yeah.
what you want to see.
Well, it's like I said last night. I don't use kata for anything. Solo performance of kata is purely for me to work on precision of movement.
Yeah.
For placement, for mechanics, for technique, to really break those things down in a mobile situation. So I still like it just for that.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed it last night. Obviously, still in the master's kitchen or living room, wherever we were.
Wherever we were at the time.
Yeah. So, gradings are back.
Yeah, they're back. I think the only downside that I can see them being back from a personal point of view is I've got to give up my time to do the gradings now. You know, and you invest in your students anyway, so it's a downside for me. It's more about the family time, really. But yeah, because I do them on a specific. I don't do them on a club night, so they are a different entity. So
that's what I used to do. Then I changed them to a club night, but now I found that that's literally unwieldable because you've got people there who aren't grading.
Yeah,
all the black belts can get behind the desk, and that's great because they get to look. You can learn a lot from watching students and thinking, oh shit, I should be doing that. I should be better at that. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there's other people who should be training who you have to split off or something. So I'm going back to individual times, but it's a ball ache because you have to find a hall, costs a fortune.
So going back to it, that's the only downside really. I think I could see at the time I think I put a reasonable argument for not doing gradings previously, but now it's good. It shows that you're looking at what you're doing. And, not too big to change my mind, So
if you keep following this podcast for another 2 years,
Brian
might change his mind again. So
who knows?
There you go.
So I think gradings are back.
Gradings are back.